Hey everyone, it's Steven, and today I have the 2021 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport SEL Premium R-Line trim. Yeah, that's quite a bit of a mouthful, but this is the top trim of the Atlas Cross Sports, which debuted in the 2020 model year. The Atlas is actually a relatively new vehicle as well. It debuted in the 2018 model year, and the Cross Sport, if you're wondering what the difference is here, is that it's actually a bit of a coupe-ified SUV. Yeah, that's kind of the new trend with SUVs these days, especially in the Volkswagen group, right? You've got the Audi Q5 Sportback, and then you've also got the Porsche Cayenne Coupe. You can kind of see in the back right there, instead of the normal boxy look, you've got a bit of a sloped roof in the back there, and that's kind of what differentiates this from the normal Atlas. This is also only going to be a 2-row vehicle instead of the normal 3 rows that come in the larger Atlas, which means that you get really good cargo space here. And a bit of a sportier looking ride as well. So I'm going to go into the car today and give you a review of the exterior, the styling, which I definitely think is one of the highlights of the car, talk about the interior, and then kind of go on the road, give some driving impressions, talk about the tech, and I'll finally close off with some overall thoughts and recommendations. Alright, so giving a quick overview of this vehicle in the Volkswagen lineup, this slots right above the Tiguan in terms of size. This is going to be their mid-size SUV, which means has a lot of stiff competition here in America, right? This is probably one of the best-selling segments in the US, and you've got really great cars like the newly redesigned Kia Sorento, the Toyota Highlander, the Mazda CX-9, Hyundai Santa Fe, right? The list goes on and on. Honestly, this is one of the most crowded segments, and Volkswagen really did a great job here differentiating themselves, especially with this, sporty coupe-ified version here. I think they're really ahead of the game here that I think a lot of other competitors are going to start, trying to catch on the trend for. So you can kind of see from the, right from the get-go, the appearance of this car really is striking. I feel like that's one of the best parts of this car and gives it an edge over the competition here, is this looks really good for a mid-size SUV. Obviously, some of the other competitors are getting there, right? I love the newly designed Kia Sorento and the Santa Fe, honestly, but Volkswagen came out with this Atlas in 2018, and they did a refresh on the larger Atlas in 2021 that kind of adapted it to the the Atlas Cross Sport styling. But yeah, you've got some really nice design elements here that I really like. Speaking of design elements, we've got the front fascia here, which looks, this really is the part that I feel like sets it apart. You've got gorgeous daytime running lights here, full LED, including the headlights and the taillights as well. And this grille just looks really good with the new Volkswagen logo. It looks much classier than I feel like the previous one did. You've also got this large grille with some blacked out functional vents in the bottom here. The ones on the side, unfortunately, are just for show here, but you've really got a handsome looking front fascia here, and it has a really bold styling that I feel like, it reminds me of the Arteon, which really, is a stunning sedan, and I really like that about the exterior. Moving on to the side profile here, you've got some really nice body lines, right? Like, look at the lines over the wheels. I feel like those look really good and make this car look really muscular and athletic. These wheels are, obviously, we have the top of the line trim here. This is the SEL Premium R line, 21-inch alloy wheels here. They look so good, and I really feel like they're really enhancing the luxurious look of this car. You can definitely tell that this car borrows a lot of design language from the Porsche Cayenne Coupe, which came out a few years back, and also, of course, the new Audi Sportback models for their SUVs. The back also looks really good. You've got that new Volkswagen emblem, you've got the Atlas, which looks really fancy, the words right there. And then, of course, this is 4Motion. This is going to be their all-wheel drive system, and this one has the 3.6-liter V6. The quad exhaust is really the area that I have to say I just am not a fan of the looks, and I know a lot of other people agree out there. I don't know. I just feel like I don't like the fake vents. I feel like having 4 actual exhaust tips would look really good and make this look a lot sportier. You've got a tow hitch here with a tow trailer package, which allows this Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport to actually tow 5,000 pounds, which is not bad for the class. Kind of moving back to the side and the front of the car, you see that nice little chrome bar at the bottom. I think that looks really good. It makes it look definitely a lot more luxurious. And then I love the Cross Sport badge on the side. That's really the only place in the actual vehicle that says Cross Sport, but it really it gives you that luxurious and sporty look. The car is 195.5 inches long, which is about 3 inches shorter than the normal 3-row Atlas, and it's actually 2 inches lower than the normal Atlas as well. So this SEL Premium R-Line trim is the top of the line. It MSRPs for over $50,000. That's a lot of money for a midsize SUV. And you are getting a lot for that, right? You got the really nice upgraded wheels, you've got a 12-speaker Fender upgraded audio system, which sounds amazing, probably one of the best I've heard in the segment so far. You've also got the 360 camera, radar cruise control, almost anything you can think of that, you know, would be typical for a high trim version of a midsize SUV. The Atlas Cross Sport we have right here is in the pure white color, which I think looks really stunning, especially on a really sunny day like today. And despite this car being over $50,000 for this trim, the base Atlas is actually a little bit over $30,000, which makes it very competitive with a lot of other midsize SUVs in this segment. Really, this trim I feel like is the one to get. It has all the coolest features you could ever expect in it. So going into the trunk here, we do have the hands-free liftgate with kick assist here. So see if I can get it to work here. You see it opens right up. Just went grocery shopping and you can see that we have a ton of space here. This is class leading with 40 cubic feet of space. You have enough space for all these different paper towel rolls, water bottles, all this stuff, and we still have more space here. This is very, very impressive for a mid-size SUV here. When it comes to the competition like the Highlander, the Kia Sorento, things like that, this is going to get you a lot more space here. And you can still see that the rear passengers actually have a lot of space as well. Right, so going underneath the hood of this 2021 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport, we have got the upgraded 3.6 liter V6 here. It looks really, really nice. I love the Volkswagen emblem on it. And the general engine bay just looks a lot nicer than you would expect from some of these midsize SUVs. This does produce 276 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque, which is slightly higher than the normal engine you would get, which is the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, which produces 235 horsepower and I think 258 pound-feet of torque. With the V6, kind of like I'll demonstrate later in the review, the 0 to 60 time is about 7.5 seconds, so definitely not the fastest, but honestly not the slowest, right? Like there's a lot of midsize SUVs that go, you know, probably closer to the 9-second range here. The V6 engine here is mated to an 8-speed automatic with Tiptronic and 4Motion, which is Volkswagen's all-wheel drive. One thing I wanted to mention here, in case you didn't see this earlier, is the R-Line badging here on the grille. It looks really good. I love the new version of it. It looks a lot more luxurious and fancy and fast. Volkswagen says that this car will get you EPA estimates of about 16 city miles per gallon and 22 miles per gallon on the freeway for a combined total of about 19. That definitely puts it pretty low in this class. This is a bit of a gas guzzler. Before diving into the interior of the car, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Zimbrick Volkswagen in Middleton, here in the greater Madison area, for renting me this awesome Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport for the day. I've had a blast driving it, obviously, and I'm really happy to be able to provide you guys this really cool review. All right, so clearly I like the exterior of this vehicle a lot, but what about the interior? So let's jump in. Immediately you can see you've got this two-tone color combination here. I really like it. I honestly feel like some of the two-tone combinations out there on other vehicles I really don't like, but this one is very tastefully done. You've got the cinnamon brown and black leather interior here, and let's hear that door clunk. It sounds good. It's quiet in this cabin, kind of like you'd expect from a luxurious car. I feel like one of the things that people will notice immediately in this cabin is that it's kind of a mixture of high quality and low quality materials. You know, the seats are great. I can't go on about them, honestly. They're very well bolstered. They feel really, really good. You've got both heated and ventilated seats. And overall, just a really comfortable ride here. But then you've got a lot of soft touch plastic all kind of around the area. And a lot of hard plastics too. And on the front dash here, this is, you know, faux stitching all across the top. And I really feel like they could have done some, I guess, fancier stuff here, especially at the $50,000 price tag. You've got the nice Fender logo here for the audio system, which really is one of the best parts of this car. But again, you know, hard touch plastic here and all throughout the bottom, which, you know, isn't not expected, I guess, you know, for you know, a car, you know, a Volkswagen, I suppose. But again, like, I just really feel like at this price point, you could definitely get a better interior, I guess. But you know, overall, at least the seats, the really important part, are very, very comfortable. The center armrest is kind of nice too. You've got some white contrast stitching, which I really like, and you've got a decent amount of storage space down here. One of my favorite features here also is you've got this huge pano sunroof. It's really, really big. It looks really, really nice. You can also open it quite far, actually, as I can demonstrate in a moment here. So it's a one-touch button. You can kind of see it. It actually almost feels like a convertible, honestly, when it kind of goes all the way back. Definitely a lot of air, and it feels really good, especially on a really sunny day like today. Stepping into the back seat here, you've got a lot of space. This is a really, really good car if you need a lot of space for like 4 adults or something like that, right? One of my favorite features of these rear seats is that they recline. How cool is that? And they recline a lot. It's not just a little bit. You can go back pretty far, and this feels really, really good. Like, I feel like just imagining sitting back here, getting chauffeured in your Atlas Crossport or something like that, right? Like reading a book with this huge piano sunroof. Honestly, that feels very, very luxurious. And I feel like it's a huge feature that this car has that not a lot of the competitors do. You've also got the rear sunshades here on the sides, which I feel like really give you that kind of luxurious feature that, you know, make you feel like you're in an executive car. You've got the armrest here in the center as well. It's pretty good. You know, has your traditional cup holders and stuff like that. And then you've got your child attachment latches as well. And the same two-tone brown and black combination kind of goes throughout the rear seats as well. Another luxurious feature of the Atlas Crossport SEL Premium R line is that you have heated rear seats as well. And you've got 2 USB-C ports here as well, and also an outlet. So definitely pretty luxurious accommodations for the rear seat passengers. Some other cool features of the interior, you've got 3-way memory for the driver's seat, none for the passenger seat unfortunately, but you do have power controls for both the driver and the front passenger. You've got this really nice R-line steering wheel. It's flat bottom. I like it. It feels really sporty, and it feels really good, honestly, but again, when you're actually driving the car, it really doesn't feel like a sporty car, even when you put it into sport mode. The digital gauge cluster, really, really nice 10-inch display. Very configurable, kind of very similar to the Audi virtual cockpit. I believe this is called Volkswagen's digital cockpit, so very similar names as well. I really like the new logo here. It looks really classy. This steering wheel, I will say they did a really good job with. I really like the buttons. They're very, very intuitive. I love the volume up and volume down and the forward and back track. Those are just intuitive, and I feel like some cars these days don't have the most intuitive buttons for that. You've got a physical button for the heated steering wheel, which I really, really like, and actually 3 different levels, as you can see. So you can turn it on and you can change the level of the heat, which is really nice because sometimes you don't want it to be super hot, right? All right, so jumping right into the tech part of this review, you've got the 10-inch digital gauge cluster I just talked about with the map in the middle of the navigation, and you've also got your speedometer and your tachometer here, which is all digital, which looks really, really cool, looks really futuristic. You have a lot of also really good information that you're displaying here, right? You have the time, sport mode is that little flag up there, you have the temperature outside, you know, you have the compass. Everything looks really, really good and very configurable. I think this is one of the things that Volkswagen does really well, and you know, Audi, Porsche, all the other people in the group. You have all the different displays here that you can kind of configure, and then you also can kind of cycle through a lot of the other displays here, and you can change the view using this view button on the steering wheel here. And you can kind of see the different ways you can configure that. So it's a very highly configurable digital setup, which I think really is the future of cars here. So one thing I wanted to demonstrate here is Volkswagen's IQ Drive, which is their semi-autonomous driving system. So this does have lane tracing assist, and it does have you know, radar cruise control like you would expect from most autonomous driving systems. And it's not bad, right? You can kind of see the follow distance right here is set up here. You can also see those white lines on the side indicate that you are in fact tracing the lanes. Sometimes in these, you know, depending on the back road you're on or whatever, it's not the most accurate from what I've noticed, but really it's not bad. I feel like it works, you know, half well. I would definitely trust it on the freeway, less so on these sort of roads right here. And you can kind of see that you do stop as, you know, another car comes up, and you can kind of see that within the system. It does come to a full stop as well, but it will not engage itself unless you put your foot on the pedal again. Going to the infotainment system, you can see we've got Apple CarPlay. This is wireless. You've also got wireless Android Auto as well. And the touchscreen is very responsive. You've got, you know, you can go into Volkswagen settings here. This is the new MIB3 infotainment system. Very responsive, and it actually has some gesture controls. So you can kind of move. I really don't know how useful that is and practical, but yeah, overall, a pretty responsive system. It's very intuitive. I will say, You know, I give them major props for having a very intuitive infotainment system that is also responsive. You've got navigation in your SEL Premium R line, of course. This is the top trim. You've got pretty much everything possible. You know, most of the time I feel like people will be staying in Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but you do have a lot of configurability here. The sound configuration is actually really cool. You've got a subwoofer control here as well. And of course, you've got the Fender Premium Audio that, you know, it really wants to let you know that this is not just your normal sound system. One of the neat things about the infotainment system also is you can kind of see that bottom blue bar. When you get close, it knows, it senses your hand is getting there, and it kind of pulls up the words. And then when you click something like the settings here, you can see that has a really cool flipping animation. I feel like that feels luxurious, and it is fast, it's smooth, it's a cool animation. The infotainment system really has impressed me. I wanted to give a brief demonstration of the built-in navigation system. So, you know, most people will be using Google Maps or whatever they have in their Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but the navigation's not bad here. Like, you definitely, it's not the crispest or fastest, right? But it does work, and I feel like this is something that they're going to continue to improve. One of the neat things about this car is that it actually says goodbye to you when you're leaving the car. It also displays the trip information in your 10-inch digital gauge cluster with a kind of cool animation. Moving to the center console area of this car, you've got a large wireless charging pad here. It fits perfectly for probably almost every phone out there. You've got 2 USB-C chargers as well, and also a power outlet. You can see all some of the controls here. You've got both heated and ventilated seats. You can actually turn them on simultaneously, which is kind of interesting. The seats do have 3-way power adjustment, essentially. And then you've also got your typical auto climate controls. I do feel like they could have made this part look a little fancier. I feel like this part is something that kind of looks like, you know, out of a more commercial, less luxurious car here. Moving down to this center area, Volkswagen does pride itself in how many cup holders this car has. I believe it has 11 in total, which is kind of crazy, but you know, you can see 2 right here. These are the different drive mode selections as well. You can use this rotary dial to change between like off-road modes and stuff like that. And then you can use this middle button here to kind of click through the different sport modes, which is always kind of an interesting selection here. So moving on to the bottom part of here, you've got the 360 camera, which you can turn on, which is really nice. It looks really high res. I feel like that's something I can't I can't stress enough. Like this, I mean, we're in the middle of a parking lot here, but it looks really, really good. And you actually have all these different views that you can kind of view your car from, right? Like all these different angles, which looks really, really futuristic, and I think looks fantastic. Moving back to the center console here, you've got your start stop engine button, typical, and you've also got your parallel and perpendicular park assist button right there. This is the park brake, the electronic park brake here as well. And that kind of rounds out the rest of the tech in this car. All right, so some driving impressions on the 2021 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport here. Doing some little back road driving in the Madison area, and it's a smooth car for sure. Definitely feels pretty luxurious. The driving experience is definitely, you know, something that I feel like is very comparable to some of the competitors. We're on a bit of a bumpy road right now, so it's definitely not the smoothest here. But otherwise, like when you're driving on the freeway and stuff, it is definitely a smooth experience, and I really like that. It does feel pretty luxurious, but I will say a lot of the competitors these days feel really good too. The Highlander, Kia Sorento, the Hyundai Santa Fe, all of those cars are amping up their game. I do feel like Volkswagen is matching them with the Atlas, but I wouldn't necessarily say that they're better, I guess. So I think it does feel smooth though, and I do like that a lot. The car is very comfortable. I really like these seats. The ventilated and heated seats work really, really well, and you do feel like you have a very commanding view of the road. You have this gorgeous pano sunroof and really, really great visibility while you're driving. So for some city driving, I did want to talk about the road noise and kind of the firmness of the ride quality here. So obviously, being the Atlas Cross Sport, it is 2 inches lower than the normal Atlas, and that does give you a bit of a firmer ride and suspension. You do feel the bumps a little more than I would expect, but again, it is a very smooth car, and I feel like they did a really good job at balancing those qualities here. In terms of road noise, the cabin is a very quiet cabin in general. That's one thing that I definitely noticed when I was on the freeway and stuff like that. However, you know, again, like it's not going to be as quiet as some of the luxurious competitors. Probably, you know, when you get to the Kia Telluride and the Palisade, those are extremely quiet and luxurious feeling when you're driving. So I'll see if I can get a little sound of the engine, that 3.6 liter V6 with 276 horsepower. All right, so I'm kind of flooring it here in sport mode. Obviously not the fastest car here, but you can hear it a little bit, right? It does have pickup. Like, this is definitely not something that you're going to feel like you particularly need more power. But kind of like I said earlier in the review, I do think that the Atlas Cross Sport could benefit from a sportier trim, right? Something that can match you know, maybe like, you know, the X3 M40i, something like that, right? I feel like that would do really, really well, especially in this segment, right? People are really looking for the sporty part, especially because this is a cross sport, right? This is something that people expect is going to be sporty. I can do a little bit of a rev here as well. And yeah, it has a nice sound. The V6 sounds pretty good, but again, I just feel like the cross sport really could benefit from a stronger engine. So I wanted to close this review with some overall thoughts on the Atlas Cross Sport here. This is a really, really nice car. I really, really enjoyed driving, you know, on the city roads and on the freeway as well. But there are definitely some interior quality things that I feel like might make some competitors a better choice in this segment. But of course, like I mentioned before, the exterior styling, I really can't get over it. It is a gorgeous looking car. The wheels, all that sort of stuff looks really good. If you're looking for a sportier ride though, I really don't think this is going to, you know, fulfill your needs here. So I really would recommend this for families who, you know, don't need the 7 seats of the normal Atlas and are looking for a bit of a, you know, sportier looking, and you know, the exterior styling definitely stands out from the crowd of midsize SUVs, right? This is one of the most crowded segments in the US right now. Very, very popular, and all the cars are doing really, really well. You know, this car really is one of the bread and butter products for Volkswagen right now. So highly recommend this for people who are looking for, you know, just a car that can stand out. And it only has 5 seats, but if you don't really need the extra space, I feel like, you know, in terms of cargo capacity, this car does really, really well. So that's pretty much it for my review today. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you want to check out some of my other videos, check out the link here, and then like and subscribe down here. Thanks so much, everyone. See you at the next video.